All right. Yeah, no, it works. Woohoo! Yeah, just had to reboot the software. Yeah, I think it works now. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, I need a link to the chat, moderator. All right. Well, all right. Could be worse. Let's see. So you have the screen. For some reason, the webcam is only showing you a tiny part of my display, but we're good there. Just need a link to the chat so I can see the questions, and we can start non-farm payrolls number 258, isn't it? Right? We're under what, 21st year? Wait. Oh, wait. It's only the 11th year. Oh, pfft. It's a big deal, huh? Only 11 years. Okay, pulling up chat. So hello. 128's not bad, right? Thank you. Wow. All right. Cool. Well, let me get some material here first. La 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 la. So how you guys doing? What a great November and December, huh? Who would have thought all this Japanese yen strength would just show up out of nowhere? Huh? Oh wait. Oh wait, I told you about it during the special event that I did from the Caribbean, the 1 hour interview. You guys, how many people caught that? The special 2017 panel discussion where I showed up from the Caribbean, traveling day to day to day to day, island, 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 run, 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 run. I'm wearing a three-piece suit because I got a big power meeting coming up. But Ashraf didn't show up, and Boris didn't show up, and Todd didn't show up. And they're like, FX Street's like, oh my God, we're going to have to cancel the event. Everyone is looking forward to it. And I said, don't cancel the event. I got your back, dog. We're going to do this, and it's going to be great. Anybody attend that one? And I said, hey, Japanese yen's been weak for the last 13 weeks in a row. It's going to get strong, not because of fundamental analysis of economic data, but fundamental analysis of financial data. Yeah? Nobody attended, huh? Too bad. So sad. All right. So let me remind you that trading Forex is risky. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan was there. I saved the world. Ah, we all have hobbies, right? Let me remind you that trading Forex is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results, but please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. But you know what? This is such a special event. I like doing this event so much, I think we should do the long disclaimer. What do you think? Right? It's worthy of the full disclaimer, not the quickie. So let's start over. Everybody, whoa, 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 whoa. Welcome to Trade Non-Farm Payrolls Live number 128. Let me remind you that the purpose of this presentation is education. I will not give trade recommendations, but I will conduct technical and fundamental analysis, and I'll do so in real time, pip by pip, candle by candle, with the overriding goal of helping you put together trade plans through this New York trading session. If you're trading along with me using a demo account, then regardless of whether your plans are successful or not, you will have an opportunity to learn. Trading and investing is risky and not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. So please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. That's amazing, isn't it? Oh, is it the chat not refreshing very quickly? No, not my chat. All right. Isn't that great? No, 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 no songs today. Now, I do want to point out something. I haven't had time, but someone pointed out to the support staff at Traders Way. We do not offer binary options anymore. The rules and regulations change. Hey, not our fault, baby. The rules and regulations change, and we can't offer these anymore. We haven't for a while, so I apologize. So strike that from the record. Don't look at it. It doesn't exist. But of course, you're now looking at it, right? All right, they're not there. They're not there anymore. But we got a lot of wonderful things at tradersway.com. So we're a broker. I don't know about you. Are you a broker? Yes, some of you probably are. But I think most of you are traders. Well, Traders Way, trade your way at Traders Way with Traders Wayne, right? Uh, if you're a Forex trader, we offer multiple models for you. You can have a fixed spread, which is great if you're scalping. You can have a variable spread if you're just trying to get the best spread possible, and they will fluctuate a little bit as market conditions change, but generally you'll get a better spread than a fixed spread. But if you're scalping, you always know it's going to be that exact spread, so it's better, I think. Especially if you're trading around news. If you're trading around news like non-farm payrolls, isn't it likely the spread will widen a little bit? Now, some of your brokers, they probably widen a lot. But it's normal if the market conditions change, right? Horrible customer service. I've never heard anyone complain about customer service. But anyways, um, so that's if you're scalping around news events, that's when the spread's likely to change, right? So you can have one account, let's say, that you fund, and all you do is scalp things like non-farm payrolls and CPI and ISM and all that kind of stuff, and you'd always know the spread. And a variable spread for your normal sort of swing trades where you probably save a half a pip or a pip or whatever it is. And then a pure ECN model as well if you want to do it that way. And it's easy to set up, right? So I'll tell you what, I work with clients every single day to help them succeed. Swing on by. Open up a demo account, especially if you're enjoying this webinar. If you learn something new, you just sort of owe it, right? Out of respect and loyalty to at least open up a demo account and test out the back office, download MT4. We'll take care of you. Okay. So I help clients 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Thursday, right before the New York Open, and every Friday I'm at FX Street. Every Friday. Today's free for everybody. Woohoo! And every other Friday you have to pay money. Huh? You got to pay if you want to play. Premium, baby. VIP only. And I'm also Forex Speaker of the Year. So thank you to your loyalty for that. Oh, and in case I didn't say it, my name is Wayne. So imagine this. I've been doing this particular webinar for, 11 years? So, right? So I've been doing this a while. So just before we get into the presentation, let's do an outline, right? A roadmap for the day. The roadmap is we got news, right? You like my American English? We got news at 11 or at 8:30. So I got to prepare you for that, right? And it would, right? I would be remiss if I didn't go over the strategy. And hopefully we'll have enough time to discuss what the number is going to be, how to model and all that kind of stuff. So we got a lot to do in this next hour. And then The news will come out and the market will be volatile, and we'll deal with that. We'll look for opportunities, right? You know what I'm talking about? And then time will go by, and at 9:30, something important happens, and it's the open of the U.S. stock market. So that may affect currencies as well. And generally that lasts a little bit. And then between what? The 9:45 to 10:30, the last 45 minutes, I usually just do Q&A, right? Does that sound like a good plan, guys? I'll prep you. We'll deal with the market, look for opportunities in the last 45 minutes. If you want help scalping, I can cover that. Swing trading, cover that. Daily, monthly, or weekly pivot points, I can cover that. Multiple time frame analysis, I can cover that. Intermarket analysis, intramarket analysis, currency correlations, whatever you want. You are the boss. I am your humble Forex analyst. Okay? Yeah? Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah. Thank you, YJ. So YJ's been trading with me for what, 8 years, YJ? Has anyone been to more than 8 years of these non-farm payrolls events? Who's been around even longer? Thank you, Dre. Anyone been around the Wayne Meister for more than 8 years? Any niners or teners? Whoop whoop. Yeah. Almost 8 years. Well, forget it. Then it's still 7 years, YJ. Don't exaggerate. Well, anyways, thank you for your loyalty, guys. And I think one thing that's for sure is 8 years ago, YJ would have said, "Man, this guy really loves trading." Yeah, Ben. Ben goes way back, right? Ben goes way back. Ben must is a tenor at least, and his brother, right? Crazy Ryan, yeah. Uh, everyone's got to have a nickname. Huh? So, anyways, here I am. I'm a bitter old man, right? I yell at small children. I kick puppies as I walk the streets, but I still love Forex. I'm passionate. I love it. Just love it. Oh my God, I'm in love. So I'm really happy to share my experiences with you. I want you to succeed. And like I said, look, I work for a broker, right? Tradersway.com. The candles are lit, the table's set. We want you to fall in love with us. So here's the thing. I want you to succeed. You open up a demo account or a live account at Traders Way just out of loyalty and respect. You're like, damn, Wayne really helps me succeed. So you choose Traders Way as your primary broker, your prime broker for your Forex trading business. And over years and years and years of slowly growing your trading account, slowly growing your lot size, Traders Way makes money, and we execute your trades very quickly, faster than most brokers, at very competitive prices. That's it. And we have a symbiotic relationship together, right? So, anyways, let's go all the way back. Right? This goes all the way back. This is like right out of my book, and this actually goes back probably 3 or 4 years before I even wrote a book. Excuse me. So when Wiley Publishing came up to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about writing a Forex book?" I said, "You know what? I could probably bang out the table of contents and send it to you." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know exactly what to say." And they said, "Yeah, good." So, anyways, this goes back to like, I actually did this, I believe, in part of a business planning retreat that I did with myself. So, really, if I go back far enough, if I put this right in the timeline, I was a venture capitalist. I became just promoted vice president of the firm. We had 300 employees, and uh, and I quit to become a full-time forex trader because I realized I just can't do both. Right? I can't do both. I can't be an awesome forex trader and an awesome venture capitalist. So I went where the money was. Right at the time, it was 3 trillion a day. I'm like, I have to follow that. 3 trillion, dude. I gotta follow that. So anyway, so I choose forex and I start trading. And guess what? I run into trouble. It's not going good anymore. I was doing better as a part-time trader than I was as a full-time trader. And I said, holy smokes. So I stopped and I said, well, you know what? I've always been a success. And by the way, in the startup world, I had no, you would have read, you know, how do you say it without being an arrogant prick? Um, you know, magazines and newspapers and such had already written about me and my escapades as an entrepreneur for many, many years. So I had already had a track record of success. I already did interesting things, right? Right? For Canadians, if you're Canadian, right, you'll know the National Post. It's the national newspaper of Canada. They wrote a whole feature about me, about my entrepreneurial escapades. There must have been 30 different articles of various magazines and such. I was interviewed by CNN. Now, granted, they didn't put it on air, but it still happened. Um, but anyways, so there I am, used to being a success. You know, I mean, even when I was like 20, I was on a board of directors for a corporation with George Soros. I mean, seriously, right? So, anyways, there I am. I'm a full-time forex trader, sucking wind and choking on my own blood. And I'm like, what the hell happened here? I'm used to being a success. Why did it all fall apart? And I realized what I what had led to my success always in the past was I had a solid business plan, right? Solid business plan. I knew exactly what I was doing, not just today, but next month, 6 months from a year from now, I knew what I was going to do. Well, as a currency trader, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen today and forget about tomorrow, right? So I'm like, well, I'm missing that. And I also need to surround myself with other successful traders because that's how you do it in business. Surround yourself with people smarter than you. Really, that's how you do it. That's the secret to success. Find smarter people than you and get them to work together. So I'm like, well, I got to do that. So, anyways, I go do a business planning retreat by myself. No joke, actually happened. Went to the Ritz Carlton. I had agendas. I invited myself to my own agendas throughout the various schedules, and I did SWOT analysis, and I mean, just busted out the whole thing. It was awesome. Took a couple of days. I worked a couple more days on pro forma cash flow statements, many years in advance, and just, I mean, I'm telling you, I learned a lot that day. And one of the things I went through is I really had to think about, the mantra. The mindset of what a successful forex trader was. And I realized the number one goal isn't to make money. The number one goal is not to lose money, right? It didn't even occur to me that's the mindset. The mindset is you have to be a survivor, right? You have to be a survivor. First and foremost, survive. Most people don't make it in Forex because they don't survive long enough. What happens? What's the typical cliche? The guy puts 5 grand into the account, blows it up, what, in the first year, first 6 months, first 3 months? That trader might have been a huge success in year 3 or year 4 once they had learned the ropes and seen the market a couple of times, right? Got used to the seasonality and the fluctuations and all this kind of stuff. Might have been the world's greatest trader. Could have been a gajillionaire if he'd only made it to year 5 or year 6 or year 10, but instead blew up his account in month 3 because he was taking big risks when he didn't even know what the hell he was doing. So I said, you know what? Right then and there, I said, my next goal is to be a trader. I don't care how successful, it didn't matter. I just needed to be a trader 3 years from that day. Once I had this epiphany, right? And that's why you always order 18-year-old scotch, because you have epiphanies. So I'm like, you know what? That's it. I need to be a trader 3 years from now. That's the goal. I don't care about how much money I'm going to have. I just need to still be trading 3 years from now. So then that led to things like, well, I'm going to need a pro forma cash flow statement, because I do need to know how much money I'm likely to make and how I'm going to grow my account and how much am I going to pay myself. And, this is why you do projections, base case models, best case scenarios, worst case scenarios, right? And that's right. So I started doing that based on I just need to survive. And I'll be a better trader 3 years from now than I am today. You get it? I'm like, oh my God. It just like, boom, it changed everything mentally and emotionally and spiritually and metaphysically. And I don't know, right? It just changed everything. So my number one goal was live to trade another day. And then I started doing these pro forma cash flow statements, trying to figure out what levels of risk I should be taking, how much money I should be paying myself, how big my account's going to grow, based on these variables, 3 years from now. And I came up with this minimal acceptable performance idea, right? Sort of like a quota. If you're a sales manager, what's the quota? How many dials a day should your team be making, right? How many pitches should they be making? How many contracts should be going out? How many closes should be done, right? Right? You see what I mean? And minimal acceptable performance, if I did that, right, this quota per se, then at the end of 3 years, financially, I'll be fine, man. Just it'll be enough. You see what I mean? It'll just be enough. So that turned out to me to be 15 pips, because I knew if I could easily make 15 pips by analyzing my own trade history, most of the time I made 30 to 50 pips. I think it was like 43 pips. If I can get 15, I can get 43 on average. And I felt like when on the trades where I only got, if I can make 10 pips, very often it could be luck. I could be putting myself in poor situations and I could still lose money, right? You got it? So 15 pips was the magic number, and so on and so forth, and that's minimal acceptable performance. Now, once I got the 15 pips, I can move my stop to break even, and then I let the winners run. And I found, like I said, if I can lock in the 15 very often, I got the 45, and then from there, very often I could get a 100 or two if I just let it run. You know what I mean? So capital preservation, capital acquisition, capital appreciation. This is just from my business planning retreat with myself. But I'm telling you, it changed everything. All right. Please take a screenshot so that you have my setup. 10, 9, 8. Take your screenshot. 7, 6, 6, 6, 6. 5, 5, 5, 5. 4, 4, 4, 4. 3, 3, 3, 3. 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, 1, 1. Boom. All right. So the first thing I do is I use a 2155 combination of exponential moving averages. And what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the angle and separation between these two indicators. And it's telling me the direction of the market and the speed in which the market is moving. Okay? And that's important. So if the market's bearish, I want to be selling. If the market's bullish, I should probably look for opportunities to buy. So it doesn't really put you into a trade. It just helps you make a decision on your bias. Okay? Then I use the 5-8, the 8 being an SMA, and I'm using this combination to show me, right, price action. See, if the 5-8 crosses down, it's falling on the short term, the here and now. Well, what if I'm in a bearish market? Well, maybe I should sell when the 5-8 crosses down when the market's already a bear. See, look at here. You see at the beginning of the day, you see the 2155? It was already bearish. I'm a bear. So how about this 5-8 cross here? It's the same chart, guys. Okay. So this 5-8 cross down is a sell. Boom. This 5-8 cross up is not a buy. It's a take profit. Okay. 200 EMA is the fair market value. That's where I believe all the bulls and all the bears agree that that's what the price of this currency should be. We don't agree very much, the bulls and the bears, right? Oh, I got to show you this picture. I'm going to have this framed. I'm actually contacting the photographer. Where's my drawing tool? Huh? Where'd my drawing tool go? Okay. I must be having a brain fart. Hang on. I know this will pull up my drawing tool. Hang on. Yeah, I gotta show this to you. This is the bulls. Oh, it's gonna be way too big, huh? I gotta zoom out. View, zoom, 20%. I guess I can do a little more. Zoom. Look at that, huh? Isn't that awesome? The bear is eating the bull, and the ravens are flying around picking up the crumbs, kind of bothering the bear too. You know, see how the bear's like little ticked off. So which one are we? Which one are we? I think we're the raven. Quick and nimble. Look at the bones. It's just a cute bunny rabbit. Look at the bones. He's the most foul, wicked creature. Yeah. So look, we're the ravens. This is us, man, flying around, right? Picking up the crumbs. Just wonderful, right? Here's me. There's Ryan. There's YJ coming in for a scoop. Ron just got his and he's flying away. Isn't this great? You want to see the new kid? He's like, what's going on? Hey, look, there's the Euro USD. You're like, dude, no, the action's over here on the pound yen. No, look, I want to do Euro Turkish lira. I want to do Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi, look at this. We're killing the bulls here over on the pound yen. No, I want Euro Kiwi. No, come on, you're on the wrong currency pair. No, what's over here? Dude, we're killing the bulls here. Yeah, I'm an only child. I know. Did I mention I love currency trading? So anyways, no joke, I'm contacting the artist. You know, if I could make that a tattoo, I'd probably consider it. I don't know. That to me, I'm just emotionally blown away. My wife, however, is like, "What the hell is that?" I'm gonna put it right above our bed, honey. No. So anyways, you can use Bollinger Bands to measure volatility, but here's the piece I really want to share. I slow MACD down, and I use it to measure overbought and oversold conditions for the market, and I speed up stochastics to measure overbought and oversold conditions for price. So I use oscillators to separate market forces from price action, but also, if you go back to the slides, if you pay attention, look, I'm using moving averages to separate market forces from price action. Oh, snap. Huh? Oh, snap. That almost sounds smart. Well, I'm wicked smart. I'm a 43-year-old Harvard student. Wicked smart. You should have seen me. I'm telling you. I'm studying in one of the most beautiful libraries in the world, surrounded by 20-year-olds. They're like, who's that creepy old man? Oh, don't look at him. He's creepy. Yeah, that's me, the creepy old man. All right, so that's what one chart looks like. Can you guys see the webcam here? Now, you only see a small portion. I don't know why the zoom is different this week than other weeks. What do you see? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, all right, so you only see 15 screens. I got more. But if you look close, each screen has 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? At least 4 charts. This one has 6. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? By the way, hi, good morning. Is it too dark in here? Let me turn my shadow box on. So anyways, hey, good morning. See? Wicked smart. Got my Harvard on today. Yeah. All right. Cool. So I take this setup, the one you're looking at, I've been using for 15 or 16 years. Weird, huh? Strange, right? And I've been doing this event for, 11 years? I've never changed my strategy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, like the rugby shirt. Yeah, it's good. It's nice. Appreciate that. Right? So I take this, but I also use it on multiple time frames because you might be saying, Wayne, well, what time frame? Well, I've used this setup on the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily. But that's it. Because I used Dealbook, Dealbook 2, Dealbook, what was the last Dealbook at GFD? There's Dealbook, Dealbook 2, 3, Dealbook 360, and then I transitioned over to MT4. You know what I mean? Just I've been through this so long. Okay. Afternoon in Nairobi. Cool. So I'll get that out of the way. How exciting, huh? So anyways, you ready for the scalping setup? Ah. Yeah, Michael says yeah, nothing need to adjust anything. Yeah, but put it this way, right? If I've been using this setup, I mean, I invented it with my own experience, then imagine how much experience I had with things that ended up not working. You know what I mean? The fact that you can just come in here and say, well, this seems to work, so I'll just do this. You just skipped like 5 years of pain and suffering, blood, sweat, and tears for years, huh? So anyways, here's the scalp setup. I just use this for high volatility event-driven strategies, right? Or situations that require this. So the news will come out. Let me go back. Oops. Okay, the news will come out. So da 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 da, and you'll see at first the news takes it green, 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 green. These are going to be 1 minute candles. And I say to myself, ha, I guess the market thinks the news is bullish. I want to go with the market, not against the market. So I simply make a mental decision to say, I would like to sell. But I don't want to sell up high. Or did I say sell? I got these new headsets on. They're so quiet, I can't even hear myself talk, which is actually kind of a weird thing. So let me make sure I said that correct. Let's go back and redo that. Okay. The news comes out, the market goes bullish. Wow. Okay, yeah, goes bullish. Green, 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 green. I say, oh, I guess the market interprets this as being bullish. I don't buy high, I buy low. So I need to wait for a pullback. So I'm actually looking for this first red candle. The green candles make me decide that I'm a bull, but as a bull I buy low. So I need it to pull back. So I'm waiting for it. And this is it, as you can see I've highlighted. So you can do a breakout strategy, which means you buy on the breakout of the line in the sand, which from my book I call it bayonet trade, right? Or you buy the retracement and you slingshot your way through that, okay? Now what I'm looking for is a retracement somewhere between the 382 and 618 Fibonacci retracement. That's called the sweet spot. I'm also eyeballing this level here, which I call a roll reversal. What used to be resistance becomes support. So I'm eyeballing this and I want to buy. But in the real world, doesn't always work out that way. And in this case, what I notice is it comes back all the way to 786. Well, I might have got suckered in here at the 50%. In that case, my stop is just below the lowest low. So I'm long at 70 and some change. The stop is just below, what is this, 53. So what am I risking here? 20, 25 pips? 25 pips, dude. So let's just say it here and say it now, and I want to make sure it's clear and understandable. If you lose more than 25 pips today using this strategy, it's your own damn fault. Nobody cares. Yes, yes, this will be a 1 minute chart. Okay. We will then look at other time frames to look for the next levels of support and resistance, but yes. So anyways, even then, you notice it hits a 786, and if you hadn't gone long on the 50%, it hits a 786, and you're like, oh, whoa, I'm so glad I didn't buy at the 50%. Could have got suckered in. But the next candle holds, and the next candle holds, and the next candle holds. At some point, you need to kind of make a decision, go long. And there's not enough time for a group hug or a committee decision here. You got to pull the trigger and drop the stop. So let's say around here at 60, 65, you pull the trigger. Well, once again, you're only risking, 10 or 15 pips. Certainly 25 is more than enough. That's why they call it a scalp. Okay? Again, if you don't follow these rules of engagement, it's your own fault. Okay? So if you buy it here and it comes down and you lose 18 pips, so what? And if that's too much money, you're over leveraged. You got it? Am I being clear? Wayne, don't talk to me with that tone of voice. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You'll be a success because you're good enough and you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. So anyways, if you do buy somewhere in the zone here, it should only be a few minutes, like really 4 minutes later, you should be profitable. Okay? And at some point when we approach the line in the sand here up here, it's either going to break or it's going to collapse. Right? Am I right? I mean, it's either going to break or it's going to collapse. So you should probably jam your stop, which means if it breaks, you get paid. If it collapses, you break even. Hero or zero. Well, that's a great place to be, right? And here's the moment of truth. So at this point, it's been about 6 minutes. Your stop's at break even. You're all good as long as we can break the line in the sand. Hero! And off she goes. Hot to go, H-O-T-T-O-G-O. Should I know, you know what I'm talking about? It's great. Hey, thank you for sending me cigars for Christmas. 22 people said they would. 2 people did. Appreciate it. I was just thinking about how after a trade like that, you light up a big, beautiful cigar and you're like, I'm the king of the world. Feels great. Boop. So that's where we are. Here's the website, fxstreet.com. La-di-da-di-da. Let's, what are the numbers? What are people expecting? What, buck 65? Maybe I should refresh. I thought for sure it was here. What are they expecting? Buck 65, buck 75? So how many, oh, Nomura says buck 75. Cool. All right, I figured that would be about right. Okay. So that's good. Forecast is 178. Cool. Yeah, you know, I think the one thing that'll happen is the unemployment rate will go up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry, I've been quite busy, so I don't have, I'm not knee deep in research, so I apologize for that. But I think we were at 4.6 last month, and that just seems ridiculous that, people just were not looking for work, right? So I don't know. So it seems to me we'll be on average, right? We'll be on average for the headline. And I think unemployment rate will go up to 4.7. 4.6 is just ridiculous. Okay, that's just my general thought. Oh, Artem says it is 4.6. Thank you, Artem. Okay. Now we also want to look at hourly wages and all that kind of stuff. Um, we're concerned that the Fed's not justified to raise interest rates 3 times. That once again they're wrong. Maybe only June and Dece, right? But two's better than one, right? So we got to figure these things out. I think people are waking up to the fact that, if you elect Trump and you think he's going to do a stimulus plan, that going crazy about it in November was actually kind of stupid because he doesn't become president of the United States until later in January. And then he's got to go out and sell the program to the House and to the Senate, which they're going to master debate for months probably. And then once that bill becomes law, if it becomes law, still needs to buy buckets and pickaxes and shovels, and then they have to actually go out and do stuff, which ain't likely to happen quickly. So, like, when is this big stimulus actually going to hit the average Joe's pocket so that he can go out and buy a big screen TV at Sam's Club or Costco? Look at me. I have a 400 square foot house, but a 500 square foot TV. King of the world, right? That's the American way. Okay. Right. So some YouTube questions. Is it going to be a buck 75 or buck 78? It doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's going to come out about average. There's nothing. If you look at the data, and I've already taught you how to do the model. We've gone over it many times before. It's already printed on FX Street. You know how to do your own models, and my models tell me it's going to come out as expected. Unemployment will change, wages might change, that will shock the market. Maybe there'll be a revision. All of that's fine, right? But I think the market will move for other reasons, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay? Now we can do oil and all that kind of stuff too, but really what we want to do today, guys, is trade the price action. If it comes out basically as expected and there's no major revision, no major move in unemployment, no major move in wages, then there's going to be no major move today. If there is a surprise, we'll have to deal with that, but there probably won't be a surprise because the surprise, by definition, is surprising. I don't think we'll have anything surprising. So we'll play the price action, and we'll probably drive price up to the next major level of support resistance, and it'll probably peter out. What currency are you trading? I don't know. I don't know. We'll decide. Like pound dollar, for example, is on a weekly pivot point right now. So maybe pound dollar. I might want to do a yen pair today. I might do something like maybe pound dollar down or pound yen up or pound yen down. I don't know. Why don't you tell me what currency pair I should that I should consider? I'll consider it because I'm a considerate coach. Now here I got USD Mexican peso and USD CAD, which are just fine, right? Crooked Hillary. That's so funny. I live in Georgia, very Republican, and I was driving down the road one day and there's some guy selling T-shirts and it just says like "put her in jail" or something like that. I just thought it was funny, and everyone knew who her was. It was funny. All right. So we could do kitty cat. There's some moves going on in commodity currencies. Pig dog. Yeah, it could be pig dog. Pig dog's pretty good. Um, you know. Oh, this is from yesterday, I think. Maybe 2 days ago. We were down here at the bottom, and I said we'd go up, and if it respects this level, would only drop to here, or it would go up to this level, this other gray area, and then maybe return back to here. So we're in a consolidation move. If I go back far enough, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, and if NFP takes it north, it'll only go to here. Okay, so looking at this, if we do pound here, one aspect is based on the analysis 2 days ago when we were down here. I said it would either go to 123 or 124 and then drop. If it went to 123, it'd drop to 122. If it went to 124, it would drop to 122. No difference. It's just consolidation, right? All right, so we can see the first one didn't happen, right? So if the dollar gets strong, you probably get an opportunity today to trade the pound dollar down to 122. If the pound dollar goes up today, okay, based on non-farm payrolls, it seems to me that it will have an opportunity based on analysis 3 days ago that this would get up to, about 126. Okay. To update our analysis, you'll see we now have a new role reversal here, which is also a pivot point. Okay. The bottom of the market is S2. So that's how I came up with this. That's how I came up with this. So a couple of days ago, we were down here at S1. And I said, based on the support at S1, which is support, 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 support. So we were making this double bottom, I think, at the time. I said, if it double bottoms at S1, then the target's going to be R1, and then it's going to come back down. Oh my God. So then it did go up to R1 and stop. How nice is that? Is there any Traders Way clients that would back me up on that that's what the plan was? It was either going to get hung up on the weekly central and back to S1, but most likely go from S1 to R1. So if we break through that, the problem with the upside move is we have to blow through the weekly pivots. That's not a normal thing, but non-farm payrolls certainly can do that. Okay, the one caveat to do that. Now the interesting thing is if that does happen today, guys, guess what? The counter trend. So Jim and Ron and Ryan and Suge Knight, they all confirmed the S1 to R1 analysis. Yeah, 2 or 3 days ago. So that was the trade plan. You shoulda, coulda, woulda. So now we're there, and it makes it more difficult, right? But I'll tell you what, if we do blow through the weekly pivots and we get up here to this resistance, the one counter trend trade that I do is I sell at the Friday close into Monday's new central pivot. So the new central pivot next week will rise, and I'll sell into it. So maybe sell it at 126 and take profit at 125 or 124.50. Oh, snap. For a counter trend trade. For profit taking on Monday. What do you stink? Smell like a plan? By the way, Ron and Ron bought cigars. Thank you, Ron and Ron. Those are the two guys that bought me cigars. How amazing. Got it. Just a couple of minutes. So I guess we'll do pig dog here. Pound dollar is what I call pig dog. Pound yen is called the beast. Ham and Swiss, also known as pissy, is pound Swissy. Yeah. Yeah, two runs make it right. Oh, that's really funny. Two runs make it right. That is so funny. Whoop, whoop. All right, so everybody should know what they're doing. If you don't like this currency pair, pick another currency pair. Because I'm looking at like Aussie dollar. We don't have any weekly pivots left. USD CAD, we've blown through those weeklies. USD yen did bounce on its weekly. Maybe we'll look at that some other time. Um, I mean, I guess we could do a lot later too. Like, did you trade the double bottom on pound yen, or are you going to play it bearish? So not many people caught the interview I did, the 1 hour long interview. I'm wearing a three-piece suit. There's a volcano behind me, and I prepared you for the yen strength, and probably for about 20 minutes explained exactly why the Japanese yen was going to get strong based on financial flows, not economic data. Nobody caught that? What a shame. Great Stuff wants to know if it's a buy on pound dollar. We don't know yet. All right, so let me go into the 1 minute.
Payroll and unemployment data in just a few seconds. Payroll's expected
Well, good.
175,000.
Elvis says he's
Unemployment
making
expected
money on that.
4.7%.
Good job, Elvis. Yeah, thanks for the cigars, buddy. Markets are moving.
156,000 for payrolls, 175 expected.
4.7.
204,000.
Unemployment rate went up.
178,000. Unemployment at 4.7% is in line with expectation.
Canada,
Earnings
57.
0.4% is 1/10 higher than expected.
Canada's killing it.
2.9% is also 1/10 higher than expected. Weekly hours at 34.3 is down 1/10 from prior. And the back month also revised down 1/10. Labor force participation at 62.7% is up from a revised 62.6% in the prior. 9.2% underemployment rate is 1/10 lower than the prior month.
Hang on.
Trade balance at minus $45.2 billion, roughly in line with expectation. Canada merchandise trade at plus 0.5 billion versus minus 1.6 billion expected. Canada unemployment in line at 6.9%, and Canada net change in employment at 53.7 thousand above a minus 2.5 thousand expectation.
Something's happened. Let me get it. There's a mix. Hang on. I got to do this. Sorry. Okay, let me go through this because there's a surprise somewhere. Unemployment rate went up to 1.47, but I already told you I expected that.
Non-farm payroll headline at 156,000, 20,000 lower than expected, but the back month revised up almost 30,000 to 204,000.
Oh, the revised. Oh, the revision. Do you guys get the revision?
Hourly earnings a little better than expected, but weekly.
Last month revised up by 30 or 40,000 jobs. Holy smokes. So that's dollar bid. Canada's non-farm payrolls was great. So Canada kicking butt, but also the United States NFP was good. So whoa. Everything's mixed up here. This is topsy-turvy world. Let's go back. Okay, you might want to do CAD yen. Don't do CAD dollar, guys. Don't do CAD dollar. It's going to bounce at $1.32. Go over here. Do CAD yen. Do CAD yen, guys. Now I'm going to switch over to this. It started at first. The headline was not that great, so it looked like pound dollar wanted to go up. But the revision is huge, guys. That's 40,000 more jobs last month. That wasn't expected. So let's pay attention here, huh? So we already know if this heads down, it's heading down to 122. Okay, I told you about 4 times this morning. Okay, 122 is the target on this. If it wants to stay heading down, that's where we're going. R1 to S1. Okay. We don't know if it's going to stick, so don't be stupid about it. Okay, sweet spot. We already had a 50% retracement, you see? Right? The big question here is if you sold it, do you put the stop above here or do you put your stop above there? And that's going to be a personal decision. Higher is better, obviously, but then that's going to be more risk. So, anyways, great jobs report out of Canada. Nice revision. Now, the strange thing is, why would the unemployment rate rise if we had a better back month? But, anyways. Underemployment rate has fallen. Trade balance has widened, which I actually think is good. But I'm crazy that way, right? Let me get some more data on this. Labor force has grown. Participation rate is rising. Underemployment is falling. It's all pretty good data. It's all pretty good, guys. That's pro-Fed raising interest rates. What else can I tell you? Average hourly earnings up month over month and year over year. Actually, hours are down, however. Last week's hours were revised down as well. So there's that kind of washes itself out, right? Wages up, but hours are down. No, Brooke, I'm talking about last month was revised up. Okay, come on, guys, keep up. So pound dollar spinning doji here. Euro dollar generally down, big pullback. CAD is just killing it. So there might be one on CAD yen here. Let me zip over to CAD yen and see what you stink. Yeah. You guys, why would you not be using the FX Street calendar? It's really even a little bit rude to talk about someone else's calendar at an FX Street event. Come on, have some common courtesy. But no, thanks for bringing it up that the other website's broken. I guess it was a good thing. All right, so how about this? This is kitty CAD yen. Okay. See, you don't want to do pound, like CAD dollars dropping, but the issue is dollars should be strong. So you don't want to sell dollar with upward revisions on jobs, right? So you might be better off CAD yen. You know what I stink? Yeah, pound dollar. I'm looking at the pivots and stuff. There's a lot of indecision on that. There's a lot of indecision, and with euro too. So if you can get out of break even, it's a thought. USD CAD, like Canadian dollar, is just ripper strong. So they were expecting negative 2.5, but they got plus 53.7, a differential of over 55,000 jobs. I mean, it's huge. The full-time employment change is 81,000 in Canada. So part-time employment fell by 30,000, right? And full-time employment in Canada went up 80,000. So they're not only good, not only a lot of jobs in Canada, but they're good jobs, or at least better jobs, right? Now you're changing oil full-time and not just part-time, but whatever. Maybe it's oil jobs, huh? Oil above 50, Canadians get some work. Yeah, Alberta getting back to work maybe. What do you stink? Guess I'm asking you that too much, huh? Wayne, why do you say that? Okay, watching it move. There we go. Right? Remember this? This is the line in the sand, isn't it? No unemployment rate change in CAD. CAD, yeah, it's the same, 6.9. So what seems to have happened is a lot of people went from part-time employment to full-time employment. Okay, so hopefully this is where Pig Dog drops. So what we're trying to hit now is 88.63. Okay? Certainly 88.50. So hopefully 50 more pips, faux show. Oh, looks like I had it going up there anyways and then falling. Well, that'd be interesting. Oh, well, that doesn't look too bad, huh? Wow, this goes back to the middle of December. That was the trade plan. That's a little spooky, huh? No, I think it was 6.9%. Or at least it was expected. I don't know what it was last month, but it was expected to be 6.9 in my, right. Okay, moment of truth. This is where you jam your stop, right? Here it comes. Hero or zero. Whoa, my love. It's like I feel like singing something as we get to it. Now, if you're going to trade against the Canadian dollar, you're coming up to a bullish opportunity at monthly support. I don't. It's not my cup of tea, but you could do it. You're out of weeklies though, so all you have for leading indicator is monthly on USD CAD. I don't know if I want to show it to you because that's not really something that I would do if I were me. So in 15 minutes we have Mexican consumer confidence. Ay 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 ay. You guys want to do that? There we go. Ooh, 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 ooh. What do you think? Are we on our way to 88.50? If you look on the daily, you can see we're getting pretty close to the top, but the top is actually higher than 88.50. Let's look from a 4 hour. Well, it's 88 and some change or what? Let's see. Oh no, it's a little higher. But you can see this whole zone. In fact, let me get rid of the horror line and let's do it like this wick to this wick and across. Right? That's a stranger danger up there, isn't it? Looks like we're trying to get past that one. Yeah, there's another area up here, isn't there? So it looks like 124 and 1382 and 1618, they're all going to be trouble. So let's just think 88.50. But does everyone understand why I went from pound dollar to USD CAD to CAD yen? How did that cycle happen? Dude, Canada's not going to raise interest rates with 7% unemployment. All right, Ron says 88.60. Well, I'm just throwing in midpoint psych, but yeah, you can stretch out as much as you want on that. Okay, that's going to be personal alpha. I'm just playing the midpoint psych. 50 is the new 60, right? Okay. So anyways, that's through the line in the sand. Let's go back to Pig Dog. All right, so this is a tricky one, man. This is a tricky one. So based on the pop and drop, we've made a 618 retracement, and that produces a 1382 extension. But why don't we just say weekly central at 123? Okay, and then if the macro, not macro, well, if this pattern fulfills, what'll happen is we go down to 122, up to 122.35, and then from 120, no, hang on, down to 123, up to 123.50, 123.50 down to 122. What do you think? Smell like a plan? And those targets were all pre-news, by the way. No, Fred, you'd already be short. You're not looking to do anything anymore. You've already missed it if you're not in it. Hey there, Freddy boy. No, no. Look, if you're asking buy or sell, you've already missed it. It's over. What are you talking about? It's a scalp. I'm screaming and yelling that the CAD is ripper strong, and that the dollar's strong, and that you shouldn't trade dollar CAD because they're both strong. Well, if you're looking at pound, okay, I had to adjust. It spiked, but then we found out the revision. We found out the CAD news, right? No, no, no. I mean, look, it made its move. It retraced back into resistance. Look, if you're still trying to figure it out, it's over, dude. I mean, seriously, don't trade. You're it's been almost 22 minutes after the news, and you're still looking for a scalp? No, dude. No. You know, I cycled through 3 pairs in the first 3 minutes. If you still don't know what's going on, you don't trade. Don't do it. The scalp's over. You can't be scratching your head anymore. It's done. We've already made lower lows. We've already pierced through the lines in the sand. I mean, right? Don't you remember the presentation from just, right? Look, we're already through. I mean, it's over, man. You're supposed to be in the 382618 area, right? Remember the no committee meetings, no time for group hug stuff? Right? So all you YouTubers, either open an account at tradersway.com or become a premium member at FX Street, and I'll work with you to help fix your scalping. Question from YouTube: USD pair, did it spike up first or down first? I believe it spiked up first, but remember what I said is the news is likely to come out as expected. There's nothing in the analysis that would indicate that there would be a surprise. So when it came out basically as expected, what people thought at first, like, no need for the Fed to be all aggressive in raising interest rates, right? But then people notice 10 seconds later, oh my God, did you see the revision? And of course, I'm freaking out, and I'm like, look at the CAD headline number, and then I'm like, something else is going on. Something else is going on. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to talk to you, and I'm looking at charts, and I'm trying to move things around for you, draw a fib thing, and then I finally get back to the news. I'm like, oh, did you see the revision? And so the dollar went from initial weak to initial strong, but I'm calling out the revision, so you should know if 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 the Bureau of Labor Statistics says, look, we miscalculated. Last month there was actually 40,000 jobs more than we initially said. You should know that that's dollar strength. You should know. And if you don't, then we need to work on that. It's cool. So I'm yelling all this stuff out, but look, if you don't know that, then now we've identified a gap in your knowledge in which you need to throw yourself into. Throw yourself into that gap. Start figuring out, like, well, if Wayne's yelling out 40,000 job revisions and the dollar's strong, what does that mean? What does it all mean, Basil? Okay? But I would say most people in the room that have been hanging with me for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 years, these guys know that. I mean, they know it. It's common knowledge to experienced traders. All right? So don't be mad at me, YouTubers, if I didn't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But now you know, so go to FX Street, get help. Become a premium member, and I'll help you personally every Friday, right? Open up a trading account at Trader's Way, and I'll help you. There's all kinds of ways of getting help, and I'm happy to do it. Okay? So, anyways, made my point. Cool. So, lots of dollar positive news. By the way, did you see my CAD yen now? You're loving it, right? Lots of people going to buy me cigars, huh? Everyone making money? Right, Elvis? Right? So, like, put all these things in context. We're yelling out 40,000 positive revision out of the U.S., huge NFP out of payrolls out of Canada, Japanese yen weakening across the board. I'm screaming all these things out. We quickly do a pound dollar. We quickly do a USD CAD. Then I'm like, don't trade USD CAD. Don't do it. Let's do CAD yen. And then I switch over to CAD yen. All these things should be meaningful to you, right? Right? That's all of that is relevant information that should tell you what to do without me actually telling you what to do. And if you don't know how to interpret that's why I do these webinars. We can talk about it all day. We can talk about it today. I can talk about it next Friday. That's a premium webinar here at FX Street. Right? That kind of stuff, right? Open an account at Trader's Way. We'll fix all these gaps in the knowledge, and that's cool. But I'll tell you one thing. Do not take trading advice from somebody else. You want to be a completely independent trader, because even the greatest traders are wrong a lot, right? Have you ever got a phone call from a salesperson at a brokerage firm? Hey, hey, this is Larry at XYZ FX. I want to teach you how to get filthy stinking rich using the ADX. You ever get a call like that? Like, really? You know how to get filthy stinking rich using the ADX indicator? Then why are you a $5 an hour phone monkey? Why don't you shine my shoes, boy, and when I'm done, wash my car? I'll pay you the $5. Don't worry about it. Hell, I'll throw in an extra dollar for you. You did a really nice job. Here's an extra quarter. I'll take care of you, boy. Yeah, you're not going to get that from Trader's Way, I'll tell you that much. Why not USD yen? Actually, I yelled out that we were at a weekly reversal for the upside on USD yen. I yelled it out. Can't cover everything, but yeah, if you were a bull, look, we were at the weekly S2, S2, weekly S2, weekly support 2. If you were a bull and you saw a reversal pattern between the M1 and S2, in fact, we can cover it, but I don't want to do that pair. Hang on. So, oh, Mexican consumer confidence 85.7. Oh my God. That's a good number. Mexicans are confident this month. Hui vey. Hang on. Let's take a look at that. I think I had it under this one. Holy smokes. Big numbers out of Mexico. Oh, by the way, let's go back to here. Did you guys catch this yesterday? Here to here? That was actually the Bank of Mexico dumping dollars and buying peso. Did you know that? This move from there to there, confirmed by the Bank of Mexico. The drop from here to here was literally them. Century says, please let me know if Euro USD pairs. I wasn't watching Euro USD specifically. I mean, it was in that quarter. We were watching pound dollar, but I think it spiked up and then dropped because of again, I've covered it, but I'll cover it again. The headline came out as expected, which would push like euro dollar, pound dollar up. But then the revision was really good, dollar positive. And it takes a few extra seconds for people to get that data and to see it. So then it dropped. Yeah, so Ryan says, so maybe a no-fly zone on the peso. Well, I did cover this yesterday with Traders Way clients. We talked about this price here. The reason the Bank of Mexico jumped in and sold this pair is that is the all-time low. You'll never get a cheaper Corona kind of stuff, right? Mexican gold, Corona, right? So yeah, they whoa, but that is right. That is Mexican peso intervention. Now the funny thing about intervention is I've never actually seen it work. It's never actually worked. I don't know why central banks do it. It doesn't work. So I wouldn't call that aggressive buying or anything, but they did do it, and it was confirmed. I knew within 3 minutes that that was the Bank of Mexico selling USD Mexican peso. And by the way, if you're trading Chinese yuan, at the same time, the Bank of China was intervening in the market on the yuan. So we had the yuan intervention and peso intervention at the same time. Pretty cool. And the stock market's going to open. Yay! Hoo, hoo, hoo. What a glorious time to be a trader, huh? Are you guys happy? Carol's has got lots of learning to do. Well, I've been doing this a long time, and I still have learning to do. So the oil market is open. Okay. And what? Well, dollar positive can indicate can do one thing immediately. It's not a huge impact, but there is an impact. If a dollar increases its purchasing power, right? Purchasing power parity, then $1 buys more oil than it used to, which is the same as bringing the price of oil down. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of interesting. And you would expect a good non-farm payrolls to push this up, actually, not down. So we got to be a little careful. Okay. And then mark the role reversal here. Okay. So there's that. But if it wants to come down, it'll go down, right? So our CAD yen got stuck on 30, right? And we wanted it to get to 50. So that's a bit of a bummer, but there is a retracement going on USD CAD. Now remember, USD strong, right? But, and that's a big but maybe, I mean, I told you not to trade USD CAD, but if you were going to trade USD CAD, because I know you guys don't listen to me anyways, um, you might be able to do a little dipsy do like, how could you do it? Like, that kind of thinger, and then you drop into a smaller time frame, and maybe you grab this roll, this area here, and you try to bring it back around. Okay, so maybe you sell it. Wait, that's peso. Wrong one. Come on, peso. Here's the CAD. Sorry, my bad. Oh, yeah, it's already there. Hang on. Perfect 618, and let's put it on a 5 or a 15 because there's something else in there too, roll reversal wise. Let me zoom in. I guess it was this area that I was looking at on the other chart. Okay. But what kind of retracement are you looking for if you're going to resell? 618 is pretty logical, isn't it? Are you alive? Are you happy to be alive? Ugh. Well, I am very grateful in 2017 to have you on my team. I'm very grateful to have you in my life, and I'm very thankful for that. I just wanted to say it while everyone's still here. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the effort that you put into learning the ropes. I was there too. I struggled too. I've looked into the abyss and wondered if it was worth it. Let me tell you, it is worth it. And you keep me excited and interested. You keep me sharp. I have to know my stuff when I walk into a webinar. So I thank you for that. Yeah, DJ, yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let me zoom out, give you a little bit of a better look. Okay. Now, where would a bull buy this? A bull's going to have this the other way, right? So remember, always think of it from the other side of the trade too. Where would a bull buy this? And they're going to kind of want to catch it in here, right? Probably here to here, that kind of thing. It's already happening. Look at the oscillator. Okay. So you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Okay. Next sell zone is back at 32.50. It's way up here, man. Okay. So that's why that's doing what it's doing. Just so you know. Okay. And that's why you kind of want to stay away from like a USD CAD. Okay. And that's why I very quickly, if you remember, I said, don't trade USD CAD. Don't trade USD CAD. And I said, CAD yen. I remember Ryan even typed it in, CAD yen. DJ says, thank you, Wayne. I've been watching your work since 2008. Oh, wow. I was only 14, but I did the best I could. Right? Nomura says, learning a lot today. First time scalping NFP. Oh, very good. You know, there's still an hour and 15 minutes to go. So we're going to get to the point where the equity market's going to open. And that should give us some new flows into the market. And that's usually a good thing. And then, you know, what we can do like a half an hour from now is I'll open the floor to just questions. Okay? I'll field questions. Let you be the boss. I hope that's a fair thing. La-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. Just waiting for the money to move us. Says, I love to trade. Thank you, Wayne. Learned so much from you, and we'll keep on learning. Awesome, man. I am here to help you rock. Make sure, guys, you open an account at tradersway.com. Don't fool around anymore. Come on. Don't be a freeloader. Your mother would be very embarrassed and disappointed with you. It's not how she raised you. Okay, just waiting, man. We need the new flow. Waiting and waiting. CAD Yen's got to make a break, but if it makes a break, we're going to the next level. So pound is still floundering a little bit, but it's not doing what we thought it would do, right? Do you like the double negative? It's not doing what we said it would do. And that's a start, isn't it? It's like what's the first place you want to get to as a new currency trader? You want to like not lose money. What's my opinion on C Trader? I haven't really traded on it, Elvis, but I did play with it for a while, and it looked pretty. But then I started getting like spams or something. Like all these people were spamming me their charts. Hey, Craig. Craig's coming over at Traders Way. Right on, Craig. End of January. That's cool, man. So, anyways, yeah. So I don't know. It was really pretty. It's a pretty platform. Other than that, I don't really know. Oh, DJ, DJ, that's funny. A small token of appreciation. I'll plug your book for you. You know, I don't really make any money on the book. You know, when you write a book, you sell it the rights to the publisher, right? So yeah, if you buy my book, you'll learn about my trading methodology, and I might make like $1.50. Yeah, woohoo! But so I wrote it to share. I didn't write it to make money. And I still believe it's a fact. I spent more money on the launch party because I bought beer and wine for 3,000 people, including custom-made bookmarks. So you can get a bookmark for your book, but at the end of the bookmark, it was a ticket to get your free drink. The cups were all camouflage with the name of the book on it. And I mean, I threw this giant party, right? So I just basically wrote the book and gave all the money away in the form of a party. Because I figured, I probably won't write another book, so I might as well throw a kick-ass party, right? So there you go. Shows you what kind of guy I am. So, anyways, so it's not doing what we expected. So maybe this role reversal 15-minute 5 drops it, but we don't really know. And by the way, don't mix up what happens next as part of NFP. NFP's over. NFP's dead. The stock market's opening up. People are gonna do what they want to do. All right, so GM asks a fundamental question, and I'll take that one. Why is there a revision? Well, they get advanced data, right? How about this? Let's just break it down. They call a bunch of people. Hey, do you have a job? Yes or no? What do we want to do here? Let's go back to Cadian, I guess. But they don't have time to call a lot of people. But they gather the basic data, then they run their fuzzy logic, and then they call Obama and ask him what he wants the number to be. And then suddenly, a number is produced. Yay! But they realize they've only called like 5 people and tried to extrapolate what the entire country of 360 million people are doing. So over the next month, they call a bunch of other people. They're like, you know what, 5 people is probably not a good sample size, right? So they call a few more people over the course of the month, and then they get just a better sample size and they get better numbers. Okay. Now, more specifically, there is no non-farm payrolls report. It's called the Employment Situation Report, and there are 2 surveys, the Household Survey and the Establishment Survey. The household, someone gives you a call, ring, 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 hello? Yeah, this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Hey, do you all have a job? And someone says, well, yes, I have 5 jobs because I have to work at Walgreens and I have to work at Sam's Club and then I have to work at Starbucks and they're like, "Oh, good. So you have a job." And they hang up. That's it. They don't care if you got 15 jobs because you're underemployed. Doesn't matter, right? They're like, "Good. You're working? Great. Hang up." And they're done. Now the other one is different. They show up to a business and they're like, yo, this is a bureau, yo. BLS in your face, right? And they want to take a look at the payroll stubs. They don't even care. They don't even need to talk to the business owner. They're just like, hand over the stubs, bro. And they start looking at jobs that way. And it's completely different methodology, right? And they find out exactly who got paid. And that means they're employed, right? That's why I like ADP is something similar, right? So, anyways, with all that said and done, they're only calling several thousand people or several thousand businesses. Then they take that data and they take like eye of newt and hair from a platypus and they burn it and they sprinkle the ashes in there and they take some pay stubs and they throw that in there and some bubble bath and they put it all into this witch's brew and and they say, how about 156,000? Does that sound good? And he's like, yeah, that sounds good to me. Great. You know what I mean? And that's how they come up with it. And that's why there's a revision, because they just use a larger sample size the second time around because they have more time. It's interesting, huh? Now, if you go back pre-World War One, the government didn't even track these statistics. Why would the government care if you had a job? It's not the government's job. The government collects taxes and builds roads, puts up some schools and maybe some hospitals and stuff. Like, why would they care? I don't have a job. So what? Right? If you starve to death, make sure you die on the Canadian side of the border. That's all they really cared about. Just, go ahead, starve. It's not our problem. We're the government. And things changed a little bit, right? Things changed a little bit. World War I wasn't very popular with the voters, and vets were coming back, disabled and unemployed. And the government felt like the political situation and I'm talking specifically in the United States here, the political environment was, hey, we should probably take care of all these boys. You know what I mean? So the government started to get involved with that. And then, and this was in the 20s now, the roaring 20s, the government was flush with money. And they're like, yeah, we should probably get involved. We should probably take care of these boys. They put their lives on the line for freedom. So, yeah, I guess we should take care of them. So the government starts to get involved. Make sure they got some health care. Make sure they have some sort of employment, right? The very beginnings of something like that. And then what happened? The Great Depression. But there was already this environment or this idea that the government should be involved to take care of citizens. Well, at first it was war vets, but all of a sudden everybody's unemployed. Everybody's on the street starving to death. Well, what do you think the political move was now? If it already became populist during World War I and after World War I, what do you think what happened when everyone was out of work and starving? Well, the government should get involved, right? And so the big Keynes, right? Big Daddy Keynes comes in and says, we should spend our way out of this. Does anyone know the nemesis to Keynesianism? Everyone's heard of John Maynard Keynes, but how about his nemesis from the London School of Economics? Anybody? Nobody knows their economic history? I'll give it a sec because I believe there's a delay in the chat. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Nobody overeducated and underemployed? Friedrich Hayek! And Hayek says you can't spend your way out. All you're doing is bailing people out. And the fact that everyone's unemployment will bring wages down. So what do we do now when in our modern world, with the government involved in everything, what does the government do now? By the way, 2.5 minutes to the stock market open. What does the government do now if unemployment's too high? They lower the interest rate. Back then, what did the government do? Let's say 100 years ago, what did the government do if there was economic downturn? Nothing. That didn't have anything to do with the government. We're just so stuck in our modern mind, right? So what was the response? How did you get out of a depression or a recession? Wages came down. You were out of a job. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to starve to death. The government's not going to save me. What am I going to do? You'll take any job you possibly can. Hey, man, that's too bad. It pays 30% less than you used to before the crisis. Well, so what? Would you rather watch your children starve? So wages came down, which was a stimulus to the economy to get back on board. And all the fat, lazy companies that were late in the game anyways, that created too much supply and dwindled away demand or made products that nobody wanted, well, they simply went out of business. Like a bank that gives out too many mortgages to people that can't afford mortgages. What should happen to that bank? It should go away. Well, that would mean 30,000 bad bankers out of a job. Well, why do we need bad bankers in a job? Maybe they shouldn't be bankers. I mean, think of it. Like, isn't that right? Isn't that, natural selection? Isn't that how nature works? Survival of the fittest, death to the dumbest, right? So anyways, we don't live in that world now. Oh, the bank will fail if we don't bail them out. Well, you better bail them out. Well, that's called moral hazard. They knew they were going to get bailed out. In fact, they only gave mortgages to people that couldn't afford mortgages is because the government basically made them. They said that's the American dream. George Bush said every American needs to buy a house. Ronald Reagan says every American needs a credit card. You're broke? Fort Knox is out of gold, right? What did Nixon do, right? Well, buy something. Keep spending, right? Like, oh my God, the U.S. government's been broke since ever. Yeah. So, anyways, there's a little economic history. So that's non-farm payrolls. So yeah, unemployment rate, nobody cared about it. There wasn't even a department. Hey, do you know? So when they started creating these departments, like things like a governmental department to figure out how many people have jobs and how the economy is doing and stuff, one of the first bureaus was run by Joe Kennedy, John F. K's father, JFK's father, right? But he made his money. What was he? A bootlegger? He was basically a drug dealer. And you know what he did? He ro- he robbed the bureau blind. So they fired him. How funny is that? Thank you, Ryan. Sharp, sharp. Jumbo. All right. So, anyways, there's a history of nothing. So the stock market is open. What's the initial response that you see? Dollar's still strong. S&P 500. First candle's black or red, if you will. Okay, which would be good for our CAD dollar. Right? So down up to the 618, 618 to 1382 would be the pattern. But remember, the news scalp is over. If this drops, what it is, it's the guys not on the 1 minute chart, but the 15-minute chart now getting involved. But it's more of a spot trade than a scalp. Okay? But it's still plausible. But the longer it takes, the less likely it's going to happen. That's all. Okay. And you really have to question yourself if you want to sell US dollar or not. I mean, you always, before you take a shot, ask yourself if that's really what you want to do. Like, let's say you sell pound Swissy. Do you really want to sell the British pound? Do you really want to buy Swiss franc? Right? Right? Always ask yourself right before you do it, is this really what I want to do? Because sometimes you just trade patterns, right? Blah, and you trade it. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. So going back to oil, okay, we have this going down to the weekly central, don't we? Let me get off Brent. Let's change this. Let's go first of all, template. What do you want to do? Let me look over there. Weekly. Okay, I want to do weekly pivots. FX Bootcamp weekly pivots. Let me clean it up for you. Wait for it. Okay. But that's Brent. So now let me switch over and let's switch this over to American oil. American oil, not no English oil. You guys still having fun? I don't know why it's taking its time there. There we go. Okay, one other thing I need to tell you. If you are a bear on the yen pairs, did you have a chance to look at resistance? You'd probably find some resistance on pound yen. You'd probably find some resistance on even this CAD yen that we were looking at. Remember, it was a triple top going back on the daily. Well, if you're a bear, you need to really look at those and take NFP out because the move happened. CAD yen moved 100 pips, 87.24 to 88.24, right? So if you're at a triple top and you're like, well, actually, I'm looking for yen strength, then you need to be thinking about these things like right this second. I mean, right now. Okay? Like now. Like 4 minutes ago was probably a better time, right? So I just need to put that there. Don't fall for NFP like NFP is going to change anything. People, what did I say? I said the stock market's going to open and people are going to do whatever they want to do. That the NFP trade is over. It's dead. It happened. It's past tense. People are going to do whatever they want to do now. If they want to drop the yens, right? Just imagine you're sitting there like, I want to buy Japanese yen, and all the yen pairs have been falling post NFP. Well, that's perfect. You're like, oh my God, we're at resistance, and then boom, you right, you drop the yen pairs because that's what you should do if you're a bear. An amateur is the one running around, right? Like, oh, NFP changes everything. No, you know what? NFP changes nothing. Right? And if you don't understand, go back to the interview I did on FX Street 2 weeks ago. Was it only 2 weeks ago? Beautiful Caribbean island, right? And I'm like, Japanese yen's going to get strong. Well, whale oil be. Double top, or it's actually, if you go farther back, it's a double top on, like, let's say the 4 hour, but it even looks like a double top on the daily. So it's kind of a triple top, right? So I'm just saying, whatever your bias is, trade your bias. Be ready. The technical analysis will not. So going back to that interview, I was clear. I said, I think the Japanese yen is going to get strong. I just don't know when. Thank you for the link. But nothing on my chart tells me the Japanese yen is going to get strong, and no economic data tells me the Japanese yen is going to get strong. However, the Japanese yen is going to get strong. Heads exploded. So no economic data, no technical analysis. So how did I know the Japanese yen was going to get strong? And by the way, it wasn't a guess. I told people 6 months in advance that it was going to happen. So you'd like to know why, right? Or how, right? That's the $1 million question, right? So there we go. Look at this beautiful move, man. That's the full package right there, guys. It just did it. That's a full fib retracement, full fib extension. I wouldn't expect any more from this. Maybe, if anything, we get another chance around here. So 54.50 maybe. Now, if you're a bull in oil, don't you think you'd buy it around 50? So maybe this can drop a little more to the 200%. 54.12 daily central. It's also a 50% retracement from yesterday's range. So on this chart, you'll see I've already marked it. Boy, it's really hard to see. Let me go to a higher time frame. Yesterday's low, yesterday's high, and we just bounced off of the 382 of that range, right? Low to high to the 382. Not of the actual top, but of yesterday's high. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low, 382 retracement. If it drops to the daily central, psychological level of 54, right, and 50% retracement of yesterday's range, then we're looking at 54.00. I, however, would like this to go down to 53 and maybe even lower. But I'm okay with 53. Could be 52.79. About. Elvis, you're so funny. Best call I've ever seen in my life. Ah, come on, Elvis. So, anyways, it's from the fundamental analysis of financial flows. Not economic data. It's not economics, guys. It's finance. No, actually, Eddie, that is not true. Eddie says it happens every year. It's related to fiscal year from Japan. Wrong. That's at the end of March, beginning of April. Wrong. Oh, yeah, to say it on camera, I guess, Elvis. Yeah. Well, Elvis, since we're at FX Street, I was one of the speakers at the FX Street conference in Barcelona, Spain in 2007, I think it was. Yes. Yes, I'm happy to take questions. And at the end, we did a panel discussion, and there was someone, who was it? I think Boris was there, Booker was there, and a couple other people I haven't seen since. But anyways, we did this panel discussion at the end, and they're like, the financial crisis just started hitting us. And at the end, they're like, hey, somebody make a call. What's going to happen? Tell us what's going to happen. And like, no one was going to make a call. Everyone was sort of avoiding it. Oh, Joseph Trezevani was there. So Joseph goes into some fundamentals, but nothing specific. I don't think Booker or Boris said anything specific. But so, anyways, so I lean forward and I'm like, all right, guys, let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. Not like I'm not downplaying everybody else. All the other speakers are great speakers. But I'm like, okay, look, I think you want something specific. So let me tell you something specific. The pound yen's going to drop if this one thing happens. I said, look, just a couple of weeks ago, the largest purchase of 3-month notes has taken place ever. The largest purchase of 3-month notes in the history of 3-month notes. People are freaking out. They're getting out of the stock market. The stock market's dropping 1,000 points every day. It's the end of the world. It could be the end of capitalism as we know it. People are freaking out. So they're cashing out like they should, and they're buying 3-month notes. You guys understand this so far? They're cashing out of the stock market. That's why the stock market's dropping precipitously with no end in sight. And they're buying 3-month treasuries. And the data was released that it was the largest purchase of these treasuries in the history of the world, which I would say is statistically relevant, right? So I said, well, they bought these notes, not all at the same second, but over the course of a week or two. So I leaned forward and I said, well, guess what? They just bought themselves 3 months where they do not have to worry about the market. So what do you think's going to happen when the 3-month treasury comes to maturity and expires? They need to make a decision. And I said, that's roughly, 9 weeks from now, whatever it was, right? It was 6 weeks from now, whatever it was. And I said, all right. So when we get closer to that period, they will need to decide what to do. If the financial crisis looks like it has stabilized, they will no longer want to be in treasuries. They will want to get back in the stock market and ride the market back up and make a ton of money. However, if they are not certain the worst is over, if they think there's more risk to downside in equities, they will simply roll those 3-month notes over and lock themselves out of the stock market another 3 months, which means the stock market will fall further. And if that is the case, the pound yen will drop at least 3,500 pips. And I explained it. I'm like, it's going to start happening, like I said, 6 or 7 weeks from now, whatever it was. And like, I knew exactly when to start looking for it. And I told everyone exactly what to trade, but I took all this time to explain why and my reasoning and the thought process and research that I did. I mean, it's worth a lot of money, but I gave it to everybody. I'm like, that's what's going to happen. That's going to be the result. And that's why. And I was wrong. People did roll over the notes. The stock market did continue falling. But the pound yen did not drop 3,500 pips. It dropped 5,000 pips. Sorry. Now, I believe that's recorded. That's how I remember it anyways. But isn't that better than just being told what to do? I thought about it. I did research. And it makes sense, right? And the cool thing is, 6 months earlier, maybe 9 months earlier, I'd sold my house in California and got out right before the real estate market crashed. Why? Because I knew the real estate market was going to crash. It's true. I told people about it for 6 months to a year before it crashed that it was coming. Then I sold my house. I walked into, this is when I was running FX Bootcamp. Walked into FX Bootcamp and I'm like, that's it, guys. I'm selling everything. I'm totally getting out. I'm dumping my house. I'm leaving California. My wife is pregnant with our second child. The first one is just a little baby in her arms, and she's already pregnant with the second one. So we're going to pack our stuff up and move away from California, move away from her friends, move away from her family, move to the other side of the United States because the real estate market is going to crash. And we talked about it every day for 6 months up until that point. Then I said, that's it. Today is the day. We're getting out. We did that. We sold. We moved to the other side of the country. And about 3 months after I'm in Atlanta, about 4 months later, the market crashed. And I'm in Barcelona, Spain, loving life and living large with FX Street. And then I said, guess what? Because of logical, intelligent reasons, the pound yen's going to drop 3,500 pips. And I can tell you exactly when and why. It actually happened. So it's the same thing, sort of like, hey, the Japanese yen's going to get strong. It's not for technical reasons. It's not for economic reasons. But it's going to happen. Now, the caveat to that is I could be wrong. I don't know. How would I know? I don't know the future. I make mistakes all the time. How would I know? But I believe it. And why do I believe it? Why do I have so much conviction? Because I did the work. And if I'm wrong, I'll know. And I'll be disappointed. But I'm ready to be right. And how can you be ready to be right? You do the homework, you have a plan, and because you've done the work, you're smarter. And because you have a plan, you're more ready, right? And you have an unfair advantage if you get the market conditions. So using the military as strategy, or analogy, sorry, you walk down a path where you very often see the enemy. You find a good place where you can set up an ambush. You take the high ground, you set up crossfire positions, you lay your booby traps, and you sit and you wait. And you might be wrong. The enemy might not show up. They just don't walk down this path today. They don't walk down the path tomorrow. In fact, they don't even walk down the path this whole week or even the whole month of January. And you're just sitting there waiting and waiting. But every day you get to go back to base alive with all your fingers and toes. You understand? Right? But what happens if the enemy walks down your path? You have an unfair advantage, and it's going to get ugly for the other guy on the other side of your trade. Right? And isn't that the name of the game? Setting yourself up when you're wrong, there's no real consequence to being wrong. But when you're right, you kill it. You crush it. You destroy it. You fire for effect. You don't drop one mortar, you drop 100 mortars. You don't kill them once, you kill them 10 times. You're like, whoa, ho, ho, ho. And then you go back to base and have some brewskis, right? At least that's how they do it in the movies. I'm lucky enough to have not been in active combat, but I did sign up for the U.S. military, and I'm Canadian. I honestly did. I signed up, went through medical testing, found out I was diabetic, and they kicked me out. But I tried, brother. I tried. I'm not a slouch. I wanted to be an astronaut. I never wanted to be in finance. I wanted to be an astronaut. And then when that didn't work out, I said, I'll be a businessman. Then I was a successful businessman. That was cool. That was really neat. Then I ran into Forex. I'm like, I want to be a Forex trader. I don't want to be a stockbroker. right? I don't want to be an options guy. I want to be a Forex trader. So now I'm a Forex trader. Cool. What a neat gig, huh? Be a smart raven. Yeah. How cool. All right, so yeah, feel free to ask questions. I'm here another, 45 minutes? I might have to take a quick break, though, reload the coffee, some input, some output, but that would only be a 2-minute break. In fact, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm going to take like a 21.4-minute break. No, that'd be 21-minute, right? A 2.14-minute break. You're going to ask questions. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to give you 130% of my energy for the next 45 minutes answering your questions and try to give you 15 years of knowledge in 45 minutes. Is that fair? Be back in 2 minutes. All right, are you there? Hello? Yeah. Back? Good. There, right? Do I only trade news events? You know what? I trade all day, every day. Recently, I was out of the country for, about a week? Let's see. Well, I went to Boston, then I went Boston to St. Martin to Nevis, Nevis to St. Kitts, and then back to Atlanta. And while I did that, I think I made like 1,000 pips while I was traveling. So that's the week where I don't get much trading done. That's my busy week. All right, Wayne, you said if you want to sell, you have 3 marked levels of resistance. You sold first and it's still going up. Yeah, Artem, yeah, that is definitely one way to do it. Or if you've budgeted for all 3, you can just sit on the one if you believe it. Because it really depends. I mean, if your levels are so close, you don't want to overtrade, right? But you certainly could do it like let's say if I'm scalping Artem, if I'm a scalper, very often I just throw down 25-25 OCOs. Sometimes they're like 10-15s, but I would say the standard operating procedure is 25-25 OCO. And I might get out before I hit the OCO, but it's so easy, right? And what you can do is you can drop one on each resistance. But every time I sell and it goes up and I lose money, I start to lose confidence in my analysis, and I double check, and I have to back out to higher time frames. I have to, I have to be careful I'm not being stubborn. Plus, if you believe you're in a series of lower lows and lower highs, then why the hell is it going up and knocking you out? You see what I mean? But I know it happens. Very often it does happen. So I may take the small loss in the first one, and then maybe do the same, like I said, at 25.25 OCO at the next level of resistance. And if I win that one, then the next one I'll probably do more like a 25.50 OCO or 2500 OCO, because I'll believe that created the new lower high. And I tiptoe back in. Okay. DJ asks, hey, Wayne, is MAP daily? Well, MAP in the beginning was daily, but I wasn't trading very much in my original days. So it was sort of like I'd make essentially like a trade of the day, and it would usually just be New York. So back in, let's say I sold New York open, and by the time London closed, I'd have at least 15 pips. Or I lost 15 pips or whatever it was, right? So they were sort of like session New York morning type trades. Durable goods, negative 4.5. Factory orders, negative 2.4. I don't think that's going to change anything. So anyways, then MAP, as I matured as a trader, MAP became more of like if I took a trade, I'd be embarrassed to only make 15 pips. 15 pip profit was when things didn't go well. Like, I'm flabbergasted that I didn't make 50. I'm like, what the hell went wrong there? Well, at least I got 15 pips. So what it did is maybe I didn't trade more, but I got better as a trader, and I started looking for patterns that I traded well. If you don't mind, I'll move around a little bit. You guys don't mind if I walk around to you? So I would look for trades that I recognized because I was better at these patterns, right? So like double bottoms and double tops and head and shoulders and all that kind of stuff. And I knew what to expect, what the expected payoff was. Where in the beginning, I'd take what seemed like a good trade, but I never knew where it was going to go. Well, then I got better at specific patterns because I started practicing specific patterns, like 1, 2, 3s. Well, if it 1, 2, 3'd, I'd have an idea where it would go. And it should go at least 50 pips. And if it wasn't a 50 pip setup, then I wouldn't take it, because I knew if I was going to make 50 pips, then even if I was wrong, I could put 15 pips in my pocket and call it a day. And I'd be disappointed, but still alive, right? Okay, you see what I mean? So it's not a goal, it's a minimal acceptable performance, right? So like if you're a salesperson, your goal is to sell. Contracts signed, money in the bank, ring the bell, sale, right? But you still have to dials per day, right? Like I said, how many sits do you get, right? How many presentations did you give? Well, loser salespeople do lots of presentations. And those are the good ones. Real loser salespeople don't even make the calls. Oh, I have call reluctance. Right? But really, your goal isn't to make 100 dials a day. I don't care. Make 10 as long as you close a deal. Right? But these stats matter. Dials a day, presentations a day, second calls per day, contracts sent per day, contracts returned per day, checks cashed per day, commissions paid today, right? These all matter, right? You got to have a funnel. So I started looking at it that way, and it was just like, look, if you can't make 15 pips a day, you're fired. Right? If you're a salesperson sitting at a desk not closing deals, you're just taking a space for me to put someone that will do it. So get out of the way. Stop breathing my air. Go work at Starbucks. Get out. You're fired. Don't use the elevator. Elevators are for closers. You know what I mean? Take the stairs, bro. So, how about your trading, right? So all these stats matter, and for me, like if if I take a trade, I better make 15 pips, or I have to answer to the boss, and I'm the boss. You don't want to mess with me. Cool. What's the best method to define a target? You know, you can take all your indicators, all my indicators, and you can throw them all away. Get rid of them. You could trade without anything but a line. You know what? I'll show you what I can trade. Do I even have a template? I probably don't even have a template anymore. I used to have one that was just like a line. And it's not going to be blank, but anyways, you just need a line, and you can trade. So that means then you need to understand price action. And price action will not necessarily give you a target. That's where you start adding other layers of analysis like pivot points, Fibonacci, right? Your leading indicators, right? You don't have too many leading indicators. Fibonacci is one, pivot points is another, right? So you don't have any of that. But price action will tell you when a trend has started, and price action will tell you when a trend has ended. So that's the first place to start, right? Keep doing it until it stops working, and then stop doing it. But then the other things are like psychological levels, pivot points, moving average, pivot points, and Fibonacci. Okay, so knowing things like a 382 predicts a 1618, a 618 predicts a 1382, 786 maybe gets you a double top, that kind of stuff. Just knowing your ratios. But even that's nonsense. Did any market makers catch stop loss positions? They know, right? You know, I don't think any of that happens, but I think it used to happen, but I don't know. There's lots of people that believe a lot of things, and I believe nothing. Right? I believe nothing. There only is. But there's so many. There are so many conspiracy theories. Just Google the Federal Reserve Bank on YouTube, and you won't find anything helpful. You'll find thousands of conspiracy theory videos about the Fed being evil and Illuminati and whatever, dude. Get a life. All right. From YouTube, one question. I've been trading for a while, but the last couple of months I sucked. Well, ooh, okay. The last couple of months were easy. Fish jumping into the canoe. The only thing you needed was more canoes. So we need to address that. You almost lost your account. I am in a situation that I lost 90% of my money. Now, the biggest issue, is it possible to bring the account back? No. No. Look, if you lost half your money, you would have to double your account to get back to break even. Well, doubling your account is ridiculous unless you're over leveraged. So let me tell you a fact, just to put it in perspective. If you're licensed and registered in the United States and you are allowed to run a managed Forex program, the best traders, the best traders make 2% per month. So you might have a 30% year, but you ain't going to have no 100% get back to break even nonsense unless you're way over leveraged compared to a professional, which we all know is the case. So if you do refund your account, right, Ignio, if you do replenish your trading account, you need to act like a professional this time and say, you know, if a good month for a professional is 2%. What is a horrible month for a professional? Well, let's say it's 5%. Let's just make up a number. Let's say it's 5%. Okay? Then you need to adjust things so that your worst month, like you just took, is a 5% loss. Okay? But I'll tell you what, you probably can double your account. You'll probably come back at the next non-farm payroll and say, see, Wayne, I doubled my account. You don't know anything, Wayne. And, okay, great. You did it. You've over-leveraged yourself and taught yourself very unprofessional, high-risk trading. And you will blow your account up again. So, good. You proved me wrong. Good luck with that. Okay. What you should be doing, and remember, I opened up the webinar on this, right? I opened up the webinar with this thought that your number one goal should be to keep trading for the next 3 years. If you put yourself in a situation where you lost 90% of your account, you don't have that at heart. It's not even on your mind, and you need to change your mindset. And first of all, by the way, the last 2 months were ridiculously easy. So if you lost money there, you need to figure out why. Right? I prepared people for those trades 6 months in advance. It was like picking berries from a bush. How many berries do you have now? Oh my gosh, my bag is full. I need to go get another bag. Right? I mean, these are the months you're supposed to kill it. Now we're unwinding these positions. All right? So you got to be careful. I would also say then, just to add that, not insult to injury, but just more honesty. You have a lot to learn, and you should probably focus on learning the next year instead of trading money and losing. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, so we got to fix it. Yeah, I mean, Ignio, this is let's change it, right? This is a fabulous business to be in. So I used to be a venture capitalist. I would review 5 business plans a day on a good day. Other days it'd only be 4. And I would speak with entrepreneurs that had inventions, had patents, had prototypes, had already tried to raise money, that kind of stuff. But they had the intellectual property and a good idea. And I would read the patents, I would interview the entrepreneurs, and if they had anything good, I would fly them into the office and look at their prototypes, and I'd bring in engineers and market experts, and then, we had PhDs and quants to do analysis for us. It was a really cool job. So I know a lot about different types of products and different types of markets. And before that, I helped entrepreneurs raise money for high-tech startups. So I've read hundreds of business plans, and I've invested into over 100 patents, and my team has invested into just as many. So imagine 200 patents with money put into, and hundreds of business plans. And some of those business plans I helped raise millions of dollars for. So I believe I'm qualified to say I've looked at the world pretty closely, looking for good things to do, ways that an entrepreneurial person can make money. And by far and away, hands down, the best small business an entrepreneur could do is Forex. To be a Forex trader. There is nothing even close. So you need to do whatever it takes to make this work because there is nothing better. And if you fail at this, most likely you'll say, you know what? I'll go take that options course. Yeah, some blah, blah, blah group is selling an options trading course. They say you can straddle the market. You can buy and sell and always make money. You can never lose 100%, blah, 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 blah. And you'll go fall for that crap. There's nothing better, guys. This is why I'm trying to teach you to think for yourself. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to the guy next to you. You understand? Fight for it, man. Get up. Fight for it. Slow it down, though. Never put yourself in a situation to lose 90%. Can you make it back? No, of course not. You're already dead. You already died. Why don't you throw away the other 10%? Who cares? It's just a matter of time. What you need to do is stop trading that way. You need to change your behavior and you need to rewire your brain. Because, oh my God, the trading was awesome the last, what, 8, 9, 10 weeks were just ridiculously awesome. So don't shy away from your losses. Don't ignore them. It's not water off a duck's back. You need to get your act together. And like I said, I did things like business planning retreats with myself and threw every ounce of energy I had at doing it well. And maybe that kind of stuff is what's helped me survive. Okay. Do you leave positions overnight? Yeah, absolutely. Days, weeks, sometimes. Yeah. So let's twist that question a little bit. Do I leave trades open? The way you get filthy, stinking rich in Forex is to let your winners run. If you can't do that, it ain't going to work. And of course, the trick is to know which ones you hold and which ones you fold. But don't worry. Maybe you're not good this year, but you'll be better next year. You'll be better the next year after that, and the next year after that. 7 years from now, you'll be a very good trader, and you'll make much better decisions than you're making now. So why don't you make it your primary objective to get to year 7 or 8 and say, dang, I'll be a good trader by then. And I bet you will be. But the problem is too many people get false messages, right? Isn't that true? There's probably tons of traders that died on the vine because they listened to some idiot that told them it was going to be quick and easy. Sorry. Sorry to rain down some reality, right? So yeah, so let your winners run, get in another trade. Let that one run, get in another trade. Okay, going to Century. Do you think it is worth to subscribe to those social trading platforms like blah, 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 blah? How about joining one of them as a trader and climb up the ladder to the master's job, blah, 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 blah. Why wouldn't you just invest money into a licensed and registered hedge fund with a track record of success and compliance officers up their yin yang? Or why don't you just learn how to trade? What's the big deal? Seriously, guys, let's boil it down to this. You buy or you sell. What's the big deal? You're making it way too complicated. I'm telling you. I bet you if I analyzed your trades and analyzed your trading, we'd find out that the answers are so unbelievably simple. I'll say, why'd you do that? And you won't even have an answer to that. Why'd you sell that? Oh, actually, I don't know, Wayne. Really? You don't know? No, I don't know. And what about this other trade? Oh, I don't want to talk about that. That was a big mistake. And what's your bias on the Aussie? Oh man, geez, I don't have a bias. I'm like, look, I've fixed your problems. I've identified all your problems right now. You have no idea what's going on, and yet you keep trading, right? This is great. This is great. I'm figuring it all out. So you're doing the wrong things, right? No, you're doing the wrong things wrong. Um, what you need to do is probably stop trading and learn about how the market works and why the market works the way it works. If you don't have a bias, and I hope you're listening to me, if you don't have a bias, you will lose your money. right? Hello. Hey, hanging up, dude. Right? If you don't have a bias, you will lose your money. You should probably say that. If I don't have a bias, I will lose all my money. How about this? A millionaire walks up to you and says, hey, what do you do? You're like, I'm a Forex trader. Really? Well, what do you think about this Brexit thing? I have no idea. Yeah, managed Forex would be the way you call it in the United States, yes. Right? So look, no one's going to give you money to trade if you have no opinion. Like you'll notice I'm very opinionated, right? You guys, can you picture that? I am one opinionated son of a gun. And I'm not shy of sharing it, right? But it means I have a point of view. I'm trying to figure out where was the pound dollar short that we had? How come it's not here? I don't know where it is. But anyways, it's falling as we said it would, right? I don't know where it went though. Where's our analysis? Anyways. Right? Didn't we have this going down to 123 and then down to 122? Here's a complicated one I did. All right, so anyways, yeah, so honestly, guys, just learn how to trade. Just learn how to trade. You can do it, man. You can learn how to trade. You can do this. Is what I'm trying to tell you. You're gonna have to fight for it. You're gonna have to work your butt off, blood, sweat, and tears for years. It's worth it, man. I'm telling you. Social trading platforms. Very often you find out it's some kid in India that is happy to make 50 bucks from a subscriber, and he's running some stupid EA. And he's in it for the 50 bucks a month or whatever your thing is. I mean, dude, just take control. Take care of your family and your children and your loved ones. Earn it. Deserve it. Own it. Kill it. Crush it. I mean, really, come on. Right? Come on. Man up. Why don't prop firm allow you to leave positions overnight? That's usually for other reasons. They have other, you know, very often if you have corporate clients, they're not looking to make money, they're looking to hedge money. And so there's different points of view, right? What else? Hey, we still got 6.5 minutes, guys. 6.5 minutes. Come on, give me another question. Let's go. Told you I'd give you 130%. Let's go. Let's do another. What a funny trade on this this pound Swissy though, huh? This was 2 days ago. Look how I set it all up. None of this, by the way, over here happened yet. I had it going up and then down, then up and then down, then up and then down, then up and down, up and down. Well, I'm a little off, but I'm mostly right, don't you stink? I think I did it on like a 15-minute chart or even a 5-minute chart. Okay? I mean, that's a lot of prediction, isn't it? Right? But you can learn this. It's teachable. And I think I'm a reasonable teacher. Okay. My chat just went backwards. Weird. All right, let's see this. Do you think there is a difference being profitable with $1,000 account versus $100,000? No, I don't. No, I don't care. I don't care. Look at this. I'll tell you what. I saw a guy 3 weeks ago. He had lost $225 million on his Forex account. Yeah. So you're better than that. So if you could trade $1,000 account properly, maybe you can trade a 100,000. Why not? What's the difference? At least you're better than that idiot. What kind of idiot loses 225 million? Dummy. Looks like just the last 3 lines though were predicted. Maybe. I don't think so though. I think where we left it. I'm going from memory though. I think where we left it was the extension, and what I was talking about is it needed to retrace back to this level, okay, which is just a normal retracement. It's supposed to be here. Hang on. Okay, and for that to occur, it's going to need a 3-wave. 1, 2, 3, and then I thought it would get down to this level, come up, make a lower high, right? Retest, and I think there was a pivot point in here. Bounce, hesitate for a second, and then drop through. But I might be wrong. Right? I might be wrong, but whatever. It still worked out. Who cares? Right? If you sold and your stop is above here, you're still loving life and living large. And look, for some reason, I'm only extending it to 125, and that's where we are now. And I'm not that certain it's going to go farther down. Okay? But isn't part of the work getting on the right trade, right? Being on the right trade, going in the right direction, and everything else is easy, right? Well, GM, if that's true, right? Right? If it did work out that way, it's just price action, and they interact with very logical, intelligent levels, like psychological levels, price action levels. So I'm not a genius. I'm just a Harvard student trying to get by. Uh, it happens that way. That's the thing. It just happens that way. And sometimes it looks really good, but it's all very roughly predictable. And sometimes it looks a lot better. And then you saw at the other half of that setup, it didn't kind of work that well. But your brain captures the thing that works fine. But at the end of the day, look, I told people to sell, or I didn't tell people. We set up a trade plan selling a currency pair that was already in a down market. Like, what's the genius in that? Really, Wayne? You sold? You had a bearish trade plan in a falling market, right? Genius, 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 right? Look at Wayne, I think you suck. Sorry, but it's because you're telling me the truth and I don't like it. So really, I suck with my trading and you are right. I needed to, but yeah. Yeah, but look, we don't have much time together, right? These free events I only do once a month. Does anyone else do 3-hour webinars every month? I mean, so it's look, I have 3 hours today because there's always new people, right? I have 3 hours to connect with you. You're either going to love me or you're going to hate me. I don't care which, right? But if I can make an emotional connection, then maybe there's a chance that I can share my experience with you, and in ways that'll be helpful. And that's it, right? And then you're going to go off into the world and do whatever you want to do. So I don't have much time to make an impact with you. So I might as well just like give you the raw, honest truth. And that's that. DJ says timing isn't everything, but it ranks up there with breathing air. Well, one way to get away from the timing issue, because that is where a lot of people make mistakes, is to drop your lot size, increase your your stop loss, and trade medium term. And therefore, you take timing and luck out of it, because you might have, let's say, news comes out and it pops for 25 minutes or a half an hour, and then goes back into the direction of the prevailing trend. So if your stop is wide enough,